There are times when your flight must be delayed for reasons such as traffic separation or approach sequencing. In these cases, ATC issues you a holding clearance and has you enter a holding pattern. If the holding pattern is charted, the clearance contains the direction from the fix, the name of the fix, an instruction to hold as published, and an expect further clearance time.
System 52241, hold northeast of Matin intersection as published. Expect further clearance at 1533.
If there is no published holding procedure, ATC issues a more descriptive instruction. All the items in the previous clearance are given except for hold as published. Instead of this phrase, you receive a description of the course line you're to hold on, the length of the legs if appropriate, and the direction of the turn if you're to use a non-standard holding pattern. While in a standard holding pattern, all turns should be made to the right. These turns should be limited to a standard rate or 30 degrees, whichever is less. Non-standard patterns use the same procedures. However, now you make the turns to the left. To help you understand this procedure, let's look at some of the parts of a holding pattern. The inbound leg takes place along the holding course. When you reach the fix, turn to the outbound leg. After the proper time or distance, turn to re-intercept the inbound leg. The side of the course where the holding takes place is referred to as the holding side. Unless specifically stated in your clearance, the length of each holding leg is determined by time. The timing of each inbound leg is 1 minute when you're holding at or below 14,000 feet, and 1.5 minutes when holding above 14,000 feet. For simplicity, let's use 1-minute legs for the rest of the discussion. In a no-wind condition, the inbound and outbound legs will take the same amount of time. Since a no-wind condition is rare, you need to make adjustments on the outbound leg to achieve the proper inbound timing. For example, suppose on your initial timing it took you 1 minute 15 seconds to fly inbound. To correct this situation, you should try flying outbound for 45 seconds before turning inbound. This should now make your inbound leg approximately 1 minute in length. A crosswind also requires an adjustment. However, if you use the same amount of correction on the outbound leg, you will overshoot the course following your turn inbound. To compensate, you must triple the correction you used on the inbound course and apply it to the outbound heading. This should place you near your inbound course when you complete the turn. With some exceptions, the holding speed for propeller and jet aircraft is 200 knots indicated airspeed, up to 6,000 feet MSL. Above 6,000 feet to 14,000 feet, the maximum holding speed is 230 knots. And above 14,000 feet, the maximum holding speed is 265 knots. In some cases, holding speed may be restricted to 175 knots or 210 knots indicated airspeed. When this is the case, you will see an icon or note on the chart depicting that holding speed. If the indicated airspeed of your airplane exceeds the maximum holding speed, you should reduce it at least 3 minutes before your ETA at the holding fix. To minimize the amount of maneuvering you have to do, the FAA recommends that you enter a holding pattern by one of 3 methods. Use of these procedures makes the entry simpler and reduces the possibility of penetrating unprotected airspace. The area around a holding fix is divided into sectors, which are formed by an extension of the inbound holding course and a line which crosses the course at an angle of 70 degrees, as measured from the inbound course on the holding side. This line, along with the extended holding course, forms 2 70-degree sectors and 2 110-degree sectors. The 2 sectors that border the holding course are combined to form a 180-degree sector. If you're approaching from the 180-degree sector and you're entering a standard holding pattern, a direct entry is suggested. This means that after crossing the fix, Simply turn right to the outbound heading. When approaching from within the 110-degree sector, a parallel entry is appropriate. As you cross the fix, turn to the outbound heading and parallel the inbound course on the non-holding side. After 1 minute, turn left and return to the holding fix or intercept the inbound course. Use a teardrop entry if you're entering the holding pattern within the remaining 70-degree sector. In this case, after crossing the fix, turn to a heading 30 degrees to the holding course on the holding side. After the appropriate time, turn back to intercept the holding course. When you're cleared into a holding pattern, the easiest method of determining the proper entry is to use your heading indicator and mentally visualize in which sector the inbound holding course falls. To do this, assume the holding fix is in the middle of the heading indicator. Then mentally extend a line from the fix to the top of the instrument, and another line from 70 degrees right to 110 degrees left. These lines now form the teardrop, direct and parallel sectors. In this way, you can quickly visualize the type of entry you should use. For example, if the inbound holding course of a standard holding pattern is generally behind you as you arrive at the fix, you will probably use the direct entry. If the holding course is generally ahead and to your left, use the parallel entry. When the holding course is ahead and to the right, the teardrop entry is normally recommended. The same procedure can be used for a non-standard pattern. However, in this case, use left turns and reverse the parallel and teardrop entries. When leaving the holding fix, you should report it to ATC.